Welcome to Lesson 49, the Stage 6 Capstone. Over the last 8 lessons, you've built up a complete picture of network security, from firewalls and ACLs to VPNs, IPsec, TLS, and Zero Trust. Now it's time to bring all of that together into a single, coherent, defense-in-depth mental model before we move on. Here's how we'll get there. First, we'll weave all 8 Stage 6 lessons into one unified mental model. Then, we'll map specific controls back to the threats they neutralize, building out the defense layers. After that, you'll work through a real enterprise security architecture ticket, the kind of scenario you'd face on the job. And we'll close with a self-check and a quick preview of Stage 7, where we shift into wireless and WAN. Let's quickly retrace the ground we've covered. We started with security fundamentals, the CIA triad, and defense in depth, then moved through firewalls, evolving from packet filters to stateful inspection and modern NGFWs. ACLs gave us granular traffic control, VPNs extended trust across untrusted networks, and IPsec showed us how those tunnels actually work under the hood. Then TLS secured application traffic with PKI, and Zero Trust reframed the entire model around never trust, always verify. Now let's connect those tools to the threats they actually stop. External scanners hit the perimeter, so stateful firewalls and ACLs answer. Eavesdropping on the public internet is countered by IPsec, TLS, and VPN tunnels. Lateral movement gets contained by microsegmentation. Phishing is blunted by MFA and Zero Trust. And malware hiding in HTTPS is exposed through TLS inspection on a next-gen firewall. MITM falls to CERT pinning, DNSEC, and HSTS. Insider threats need least privilege and audit across every layer, and weak crypto is simply replaced with modern algorithms. Every threat has a counter. The skill is knowing which one to reach for. Stack those counters together and you get defense in depth. The perimeter holds the edge with firewalls, ACLs, and IDS/IPS. Transport wraps everything in IPsec and TLS. Inside, microsegmentation slices the network into safe zones. Identity layers in Tosonjai, MFA, and Zero Trust verification. Applications add their own TLS and secrets vaults. And finally, data sits encrypted at rest with DLP watching. 6 layers, not one. That's the Stage 6 synthesis. The old firewall at the edge mindset only ever covered a single layer. Modern security demands all 6 working together. Now let's ground all this theory in something real. Picture a ticket landing on your desk. A 200-person fintech just breached. A compromised laptop pivoted laterally and touched the database. 3 offices, AWS, 30 SaaS apps, and a PCI DSS, GDPR, and SOC 2 audit looming in 6 months. Your job, design end-to-end security, and, above all, stop lateral movement. That means real decisions, NGFW choice, ZTNA versus VPN, how deep microsegmentation goes, MFA scope, and where cardholder data gets isolated. Here's how those decisions stack up. At the perimeter, a Palo Alto NGFW pair handles TLS inspection and IPS, with Cloudflare absorbing DDoS upstream. Remote access shifts from OpenVPN to Cloudflare access, true ZTNA per app, no implicit trust, while branches stay on proven IPsec ICAV2 tunnels. Then the real prize, Illumio plus AWS security groups for microsegmentation, Okta with FIDO2 keys for identity, Jamf and CrowdStrike on every device, HSM-backed encryption on cardholder data, and Splunk watching it all. The thread tying it together are microsegmentation, Zero Trust, and EDR, means one compromised host stays one compromised host. Now let's distill all of this into a tool you can actually carry into any project, a 5-question decision tree. Traffic entering the network, stateful firewall, plus NGFW with IPS every time. 2 sites talking over the internet, site-to-site IPsec. Remote users reaching internal apps. ZTNA first, SSL VPN only as legacy. Multiple trust zones inside. ACLs, interzone firewalls, and microsegmentation. Public web app, TLS 1.3, a real certificate and a WAF. No exceptions. 5 questions, 5 controls. Before we close out stage 6, let's pressure test what's actually stuck. 10 questions, 30 seconds each. If you can answer cleanly, you own the material. If you stumble on the CIA triad, on what a stateful firewall is blind to, on why ESP won out over AH, or on the 5 pillars of zero trust, the lesson number is right there. Don't skip this step. This is how you know the mental model is real, not just familiar. And once you've passed that self-check, here's what you can actually do now. You can take any system and run it through CIA and Stride, write clean ACLs with the right wildcard masks, and stand up an IPsec tunnel end to end, IKE phases, ESP, NAT traversal, all of it. You can design firewalls from stateful through next-gen, deploy site-to-site and remote access VPNs across IPsec, SSL, and WireGuard, and reason confidently about TLS, certificates, and the PKI chain. That's a complete defense in-depth toolkit. With that toolkit locked in, it's time to look ahead. Stage 7 takes us off the cable and into wireless and WAN. 6 lessons, L50 through L55, covering Wi-Fi fundamentals and 802.11, enterprise wireless security, traditional WAN with MPLS, the shift to SD-WAN, and the world of cellular and satellite, including 5G and low Earth orbit constellations. It's how networks reach across rooms, cities, and continents, and you'll wrap it with another capstone. Before we step into all that, carry these 5 mental models with you. Security works in layers. No single control catches everything, so you stack them. Firewalls and ACLs filter. NGFW adds app awareness. IPS blocks inline. VPNs encrypt across untrusted paths. TLS and PKI secure the application layer, and zero trust replaces location-based trust with continuous verification of user, device, and context. That's stage 6 in one breath. Here's your cheat sheet for the entire stage. Pin this one. CIA triad anchors the why. Defense in depth anchors the how. Firewalls evolved packet filter to stateful to NGFW. ACLs come in standard, extended, and named. And remember that wildcard mask is the inverse of the subnet. A /24 becomes 0.0.0.255. For VPNs, know your types, your protocols, and that IPsec runs 2 phases with ESP for both encryption and integrity. 1 page, 8 lessons, locked in. And that closes stage 6. Next up, lesson 50 launches stage 7 with Wi-Fi fundamentals. We'll step into the 802.11 world, cover RF basics, channel planning, and the modulation schemes that make wireless actually work. You've locked in wired security. Now it's time to take that defense in-depth mindset into the air. Catch the full series at dargslan.com or on YouTube. See you in stage 7.